Before we begin, I must offer a humble warning and an apology to you, my listener. I speak with heavy accent, as I am not a native speaker of the English tongue. I am no scholar of its finer notions, so I ask for your patience and forgiveness as we negative these shadows together. Welcome, seeker of the hidden truths, to the latest gathering of our asylum of oddities. This is the Grim Society, and I am your host, Nazar. In today's chronicle, we embark on a descent into internet's deepest cesspit. A dive so profound that a merge diving site will not suffice. No, for this expedition we require lead-lined ropes and full alchemical hazmat gear. You see, throughout the dark annals of history, human despair has always been the most lucrative of raw materials. Wherever loneliness, hopelessness, or an empty purse manifest, a figure steps from the shadows in a fraction of a second, smiling, holding out hand for a few copper coins in exchange for a promise of salvation. But what used to be the tended fortune teller on the edge of the village, or the televised fate healer mesmerizing water through a glowing cathode ray tube, has evolved into something far more insidious. Today, we shall dissect a wondrous monstrosity, a creation I consider the fullest love child of modern technology, the AI revolution, and the ancient human gullibility. Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your mental restraints, for we are crossing the threshold of a digital sanctum known as the Zagan Vault. Let us step inside before the heavy iron door slams shut. Let us begin with what the unsuspecting victim first lays eyes upon. The brilliant sociologist Erving Goffman has masterfully described our social interactions as a theater. There is the front stage we represent to the outside world, and the often disillusioned reality behind the curtains. Well, it seems to me the architects of Zagan Vault did not hire a theatrical set designer for their facade, but rather a Midjourney algorithm heavily sedated on ketamine. The entire website looks as though a 14-year-old hooded edgelord overturned a cauldron of flaming stuff photography onto cheap website builder template. Everything burns and sparks without reason, desperately attempting to exude a dark mystical, to the point where my monitor practically began to sweat bad guano. Is it the visual equivalent of bolting a carbon fiber spoiler onto a hearse? It tries terribly hard to look formidable, but to me, the content inside remains profoundly dead. The site immediately throws its core premise into our faces. Ancient rituals behind closed doors. I tell you, it is so ancient that the domain name was likely registered the day before yesterday, and so close that anyone possessing an embossed credit card can breach the innermost circle in mere seconds. Let us peruse the grimoire to see what the spiritual grandmasters of the studio are actually peddling. They offer free disking miracles, much like an occult fast food tavern where you may choose from a menu which aspect of your life you wish to ruin today by staring at a screen instead of engaging in go-no problem solving. The retail of bonds, especially love attraction. There are relationships where one feels something has shifted. Begins the machinal text, reeking of soulless ChatGPT prompt. Their grand solution? Pay the toll and receive a video. They proclaims, during the ceremony, you have no task. You must merely stand at yourself to guide that ritual experience. Do you understand the madness? Your partner is packing their badge because perhaps you never truly listened to them. And your recourse is to look yourself into washroom to stare at a Fleming school video, awaiting a miracle. Is it akin to attempting to heal a shattered bone by purchasing a Netflix subscription and watching medical dramas? If your bond has grown cold, perhaps you should sit down and speak with your beloved, rather than purchasing a discounted virtual black mass. The ritual of success and abundance. My favorite. Opportunities vanish, plans stall. Sound familiar, doesn't it? The grim reality of our mortal coil. What does Zagan offer? A beautifully rendered, flaming cauldron of overflowing with gold on your screen. Instead, drafting a proper resume, honing your craft, or protesting for a fair wage. The twisted logic of this website dictates you should toss your last pennies into a spell. A brilliant mercantile model. They receive abundance, and you get to sit in a dark watching digital gold burn on your monitor. To me, this is like selling a photograph of a glass of water to a man dying of thirst in the desert. And the ritual of cleansing and protection. For those moments when everything crumbs and you feel surrounded by the dark energies. The crushing weight of stress, social pressure, and burnout, all cured by a path of digital incense. No need to seek a healer or a therapist. Heavens no, merely activate the one-time fee ceremony. The crown jewel of this farce is the Vault membership. Because if a single video did not salvage your ruined life, you can pay a monthly tithe to receive this assembly line digital voodoo continuously until your coffers run dry. The machination and the psychology of predator marketing. Now let us dig a little deeper into the earth, down to the rotting roots. How do you decompose rational minds to this? To my eyes, the communication of Zagan Vault is a textbook grimoire of what we call predatory marketing. The gigantic countdown timer sticks relentlessly in your face. Vault access is not unrestrictedly available of all times. If you can currently see the option to join, the gate is open. This is classic FOMO, fully named the fear of missing out, weaponized for the digital age. Transfer the coin quickly, lest you miss your salvation. Of course it will close, just as the discounted scraps at the butcher run out if you do not hurry. Except here, we are speaking of infinitely reproducible digital files. In my judgment, they forge an artificial scarcity that psychologically rational took. The mind of the desperate soul in crisis shut down, pursuing only the glowing lifeline in the dark. And who penned these ancient sacred texts? I strongly suspect it was artificial intelligence, in the most bored, sterile incarnation. They attempt to convince you this is a forgotten lore, yet the prose is cold and bureaucratic as a tax collector's notice. Upon activation, you will gain immediate access. Where is the true mystic in that? In the old days, in the past, charlatans at least possessed charisma. They don the velvet cloak and gaze deeply into your eyes. Today, it seems the grand cult leader is nothing but a Python script killing an AP and generating a bloodless invoice on Stripe. And the lesson, the legal reality and the way out. Let us close the tome and draw conclusions. What in the blazes can be done about this, and what are the legal ramifications of such dark arts? The sorrowful truth, this resides within a massive grey zone. Does it meet the definition of online scam? Morally and ethically. According to my own compass, absolutely. I weight it as the industrialized, automated monetization of human despair. But legally? Well, according to the official registry, the Human Stignata Ltd. lurks in the shadows behind the curtain. Isn't it daily fully confused Christian occultist moniker? Of course. They are undoubtedly protected by ironclad, microscopic runes in their terms of conditions, stating that what they sell is strictly entertainment content for which no liability is assumed. The success of the rituals is not guaranteed. So, you paid for service. And they provided an AI-generated video, Bam! The blood pact is sealed and the transaction is closed. Authorized could, at most, scrutinize the site of the deceptive dark patterns, those phantom countdowns and the illusion of artificial scarcity. What can you do against the dark? The solution is painfully simple, yet infernally difficult. You must be awakened. There are no 10-minute push-button, credit card-activated instant remedies for life truths, afflictions. A shattered relationship, grinding poverty, or our own inner demons cannot be banished with a click or a pay. There is no vault that can shield you from the weight of your own responsibilities. Inner work is agonizing, conflict resolution is a bitter potion, and start a new demands an eternity of time. But these swamps must be crossed on foot. You cannot simply pay a digital ferryman who refuse to even provide a boat. Use your wits, guard your coin, and in my humble opinion, case founding this hollow spiritual enterprise is hiding behind the cold veil of artificial intelligence. That concludes today's gathering of the Grim Society. If you enjoyed this little occult tech auto-spy and feel we successfully cast a flickering lantern light on the internet's newest, darkest and the most ridiculous corners, press the certain button. Subscribe to our archives and leave a comment below. Tell me what is a similar AI-complete monstrosities or a spiritual exhortation you have stumbled across in your travels lately. I am deeply curious to see just how deep this rabbit hole truly goes. Stay vigilant in the dark and have a nice day. Welcome